Hi there, I'm Monique Bree and this is my partner Blair. This is our baby daughter Quinn, who's 4 weeks old after a pretty fast and full-on labour.
Monique and Blair have had a harder time than most with baby Quinn. She was diagnosed with hip dysplasia and then at 4 days old with an eye infection which had her back at Starship.
And then not long after that she had a bit of a virus where she was choking and she was
Stopped breathing.
Yeah, stopped breathing, having a bit of strife there, so had to spend another night there, but she's all well and good now. And
I think the most challenging part was just getting used to the breastfeeding.
It's good that baby's having a second feed because
breastfeeding, although natural, is a learned art. To be successful, you have to make a commitment and take the time to master it. Terry is getting the help of her lactation consultant, Nara Noa.
I've just brought in the machine from off the line.
It's a good idea to surround yourself with friends and relatives who support your decision to breastfeed. And research shows that the people who have the most impact on your success are your own mum and, of course, your partner.
Everyone's been awesome, really. Even my mum and my grandmother being here helps because, yeah, I can concentrate on trying to get this breastfeeding right.
Turn baby right around to your chest, that's a girl.
Starting out breastfeeding, the first thing to think about is position.
Stroke it down.
There are 4 positions commonly used for breastfeeding.
Okay, good girl.
This is the cradle position. Baby's head is on your forearm and their mouth is opposite your nipple.
This is the transitional hold where Terry is holding baby here behind the neck with this right hand, and baby is right up close under their breast, and baby's head is just leaning back a fraction so that when baby sucks and baby's able to swallow better. And when the head is just back a little bit, you're able to get the chin to the breast properly first, and then that makes an easy attachment for mum.
Then there's the football hold. Baby is at your side, supported by your arm, as in transitional, but their legs are stretched out behind you. And lastly, lying down on your side. You and baby are tummy to tummy.
That's it, you're going to try that way this time.
When you've got yourself and baby in a comfortable position, the next stage of breastfeeding is latching. Baby's nose needs to be opposite your nipple and the chin off their chest. Tickle baby's lower lip with your nipple or a finger and wait for them to open their mouth wide with the tongue forward. Baby's bottom lip should make contact with the darker area around the nipple, called the areola. Baby's lips should be flared or turned outward and cover more of the areola with the bottom lip than with the top lip. Feeding may be uncomfortable for a moment after baby first attaches, as the nipple is pulled into the back of baby's mouth. This is quite normal and will resolve itself. If it continues to be painful, it's probably because baby's latching is not quite right.
Just the nipple. It's getting pain when she's sucking.
Okay, so that means that we need to take baby off again and reposition her. So put your finger in her mouth to release her. Just to the side. Okay. Stroke it down. Now that's it. Bring. Good girl. And if we go round and have a look, probably her lip is now like this. Okay, before it was slightly in. As you know, Lua, breastfeeding when you first started was hard to learn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we had to have a lot of teaching sessions. It's taken, how long has it taken you to get like this, confident. 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And look at you now. Everything is wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah. It's getting better now.
That's right.
Breastfeeding for us has been about patience and tolerance. Quinny can get quite beside herself with frustration, which isn't easy, but we have to just keep calm and keep trying. We've had to find our own way of doing it, but it seems to be working for us quite beautifully.
Coming up, the rewards of mastering the art of breastfeeding.
I think the biggest hurdle for me with breastfeeding was the social anxiety. I wasn't prepared for how I would feel breastfeeding in public. I didn't even know that I would have a problem with it, but it was really uncomfortable for me. It took a really good group of friends to get me out in public. We did 5 cafes in 5 hours where I would just try it. And I slowly got over it and got over the whole big angst of it, and I seem to be doing a lot better.
Once you have baby on the breast, you'll have questions like, how often? How much? How do I know I'm getting it right? Cindy is committed to breastfeeding Piper, but she's found it challenging.
One of the difficulties that I had with her was that she kept falling asleep, or she just stopped sucking. So I almost wondered whether she was using me as a bit of a dummy, but a lot of it was that she would fall asleep. And so you have to keep them awake. You need to either put a wet towel on their head or their feet, or tickle them, or under the chin just to keep her going. So sometimes it could take me a good hour to get a feed into her that I knew she was fine.
Changing baby's nappy or removing some clothing will wake them up too. It's important that baby feeds actively so that you make enough milk for them.
So see how she's more awake now that we took her off and we changed her pants, and so she's ready to have another feed? Yeah. And that's what we
Newborns
want.
feeding on colostrum in the first few days after birth will nurse very often. Once full milk is in, newborns usually have at least 8 feeds every 24 hours.
The main thing about breastfeeding is the first 6 days are crucial for getting all those ducts inside the breast to open, and it's just so important to get that 6 days of uninterrupted breastfeeding. If you liken the ducts to little buckets with lids, you need every one of those lids to open so that the milk just flows, and respond to the feeding cues. If you fed baby 2 hours ago and baby's demonstrating the fluttering of the eyes, mouthing, then baby's telling you, I don't need to wait for the clock, I just need some more fluid.
My biggest worry with breastfeeding was that I couldn't tell the difference between her being hungry or her just being fussy, or her needing to go to bed. And at that stage, so everyone that would come round would constantly say, is she hungry? When in fact, like now, she just needs to go to bed.
Feeds may not be evenly spaced throughout the day. Babies often cluster feed in the evening. Signs of when baby's ready for a feed are nuzzling, sucking their hands or clothing, or putting their hands in or close to their mouth, mouthing, turning their head from side to side, and crying. Crying might be the last cue that baby needs a feed, and probably means they're becoming distressed. You know baby's getting enough milk if they have 6 to 8 wet cloth nappies in a 24-hour period, or 5 to 6 disposables. Breastfed babies poo at least once a day until about 4 weeks of age. After 4 weeks, some babies poo at every feed, others only every 7 to 10 days.
You got it. You get hot.
Thanks.
To make plenty of milk, mums need 3 iron-rich meals a day, along with snacks and plenty of fluids. And a healthy breastfeeding woman should take a 150 microgram iodine-only tablet once a day.
Can I come as your partner now?
Around 2, 4, 6 and 12 weeks, baby may want to breastfeed more often than usual. These times usually last 2 or 3 days and are due to your baby having a growth spurt. This is quite normal, and how your baby increases your milk supply to meet their growing needs.
I'll get you to place it on.
Today's the day Lua finds out if all her efforts are paying off. Babies may lose up to 10% of their birth weight in the first few days, but they should get back to what they weighed at birth within 2 weeks.
Yay, she's put on weight. Wow, she's put on 130 grams in 2 days. Whew. Well done, Lua. You've done a great job.
I was worried about her before, but now we already weigh her again, so I'm happy now.
There have definitely been times where I've wanted to give up breastfeeding, especially with her brace. But I had really great support people that pulled me through it, and I'm just really looking forward to the day where the brace comes off and the breastfeeding is a little bit easier.
Coming up, we discuss why babies need lots of love and cuddles and room to move freely.
It's humbling how much our babies need us, and not just for the necessities, for things like just, love and cuddles and smiling and talking to them. It's all the things that come naturally to us as parents that are essential for developing baby's brain and making them feel safe and secure in this world.
As parents, we want the very best for our children, for them to grow up competent and confident learners and communicators, healthy in mind, body and spirit, secure in their sense of belonging, and in the knowledge that they make a valued contribution to society. A parent's role in this starts at the very beginning.
Just wants to be held, eh?
We believe that the attachment relationship that the baby forms with a caregiver, an adult, is the most important. It forms the sort of template, if you like, for all their subsequent relationships. And if you get that right, often everything else follows on from that. The attachment relationship comprises of the little things that the adult does for the child, like feeding, changing their nappy, talking to them as they're doing so. When you're doing that sort of thing, what happens is that the social interaction that you have with the baby tends to become part of the brain's circuitry, and so the brain wires itself up in that way, and that really lasts forever.
A newborn's focus is about 20 centimetres from their face, which is about the distance between my face and Quinny's as I cradle her in my arms.
Touch is the mother of all senses. It comes online first when we've got our 5 senses. So we have touch, vestibular or balance, smell and taste, hearing and sight. It's been called the mother of all senses because it envelops the child in a sort of security.
Handle baby gently and with confidence, so they feel safe in your care.
I just love that you can cuddle your baby to your heart's content. Sometimes I'll play round and round the garden like a teddy bear. 1 step, 2 step, tickle under there. Or we will do this little piggy. Quinny being in a harness does make physical touch a little bit different, but she loves it when I stroke her arms or nuzzle her neck. Hey.
If a baby could ask for 3 wishes, what would they be?
Well, I think the baby wants to feel safe, secure, and respected. And I think the key there is respected. And I think the security and the safety will stem from the respect. And what do we mean by respect? Respect means that we see the baby as an equal partner in the relationship with us. that the baby already comes with a way of communicating, with needs that need to be met, and it is our responsibility to take the time and to be fully present in order to begin to understand how the baby is communicating and what the baby needs from us.
Hendon. Oh, who's the pretty girl? Who's the pretty girl?
Crying is obviously one of their first means of communication, but very quickly after that they start to have facial expressions, or they start to move and look uncomfortable. Now, if you've got a parent who's responsive to that, they'll say, well, look, the baby is starting to wriggle and yawn and look a bit disinterested, perhaps he's tired. Or she's actually now starting to whimper, I think she's hungry. Or there might be something that they've got a fever or something, and the cry is a little bit more tense and irritable. And parents very quickly learn to read those cues.
So what the baby really needs, and this is something that parents need to practice, is full attention. It doesn't have to be for a long period, but during the caring moments, if you can be fully present to the child, so the child knows you're there, you're not thinking about dinner, you're not answering the phone, you're fully there, then it fills the baby up emotionally.
On the physical front, babies need to be given the opportunity to move.
So it's important for us to understand that we don't need to teach the baby how to move. The baby has its own calendar, if you like, or its own time sequence for unfolding. What is important for us to do is allow that to happen. There's a quote I will give you, that learning how to move is the first opportunity the child has to learn how to learn.
When babies awake, avoid wrapping them too tightly or putting them in a buggy or car seat for long periods of time. Let baby kick and wave their arms about.
There you go, you got it.
Left to move on their own, babies will learn about muscle, strength and balance, and also qualities of character like effort, stamina and success.
Oh, come here. So yeah, just getting the old boat spick and span, and can't wait to get it out in the water with all Quinn and go off on our little adventures.
If Blair has his way, she'll be an avid fisherwoman. She loves being on the boat with Blair, and he loves talking non-stop about what he's doing and the adventures they're going to have. They've already had lovely outings on the boat, and it isn't even in the water yet.
No matter what age your child is, you can apply the 6 key principles of SKIP to your parenting. This gives your kids the best chance of growing up to be happy, capable adults. Let's look at creating a structured, secure world for your child. Children have a natural curiosity and learn through exploration. They need an environment where they can roam freely, safely and securely, without the constant intervention of adults. This way they can learn in their own time and at their own pace.
Well, our job as parents is to try and provide that environment so that they can explore at their own pace. So it's a practical thing. It's getting down and seeing where are the possible dangers, where are the things that they could hurt themselves on. Changing the environment rather than spending our time saying, no, Carl, don't touch that. You know, we do ourselves a favour as parents if we provide the environment that we can actually sit back and watch them explore freely.
We made an effort to have areas where our children can make a mess, which for them means most of the house. But we've got one room which is designated as the boys' office, and they're allowed to, you know, just have all their toys in there and trash it as much as they like.
The other way you can create a secure world for your children is through structure or routines.
It's so important for babies and children to have a rhythm for the day, because it just helps, you know, parents and the children just to be secure and safe. They understand that what's coming up next.
It's through those simple routines, daily routines for children, that they learn to anticipate what's going to happen next, and there's a real sense of security and that sense of security builds into a self-confidence as they grow, because they anticipate, they know what's going to come next. If children can anticipate that their needs are going to be met, they learn to trust. Trust is a really important learning component for children. Things like sleeping, eating, when the next meal's going to come, where they'll sleep, who they'll be sleeping with or near. Those are the sort of day-to-day routines that help them have that sense of security.
Guys, I'm just dishing dinner now. Can you wash your hands and come and sit up, please?
And it's important that routines are done at your child's pace. That means giving them the time they need to move through the cycles of hunger, sleep, wakefulness and play. It also provides parents and caregivers the opportunities to learn their child's cues, to observe what they can do on their own and become familiar with what they like or dislike.
Let's see those hands. Are they nice and clean? Yeah. Right, now listen. Do you want your tray on your high chair, or are you going to pull up to the table like you did at breakfast time?
Pull up.
I think routines just provide a lovely ritual that just nourishes relationships, mind and body.
Hey, Daddy.
Daddy's on.
Hey, Daddy.
And it just gives you those wonderful opportunities to create memories and of you spending time with your kids.
What have you been doing?
A bit of strife there, so had to spend another night there, but she's all well and good now. And
I think the most challenging part was just getting used to the breastfeeding.
It's good that baby's having a second feed, because
breastfeeding, although natural, is a learned art. To be successful, you have to make a commitment and take the time to master it. Terry is getting the help of her lactation consultant, Nara Noa.
I've just brought in the washing from off the line.
It's a good idea to surround yourself with friends and relatives who support your decision to breastfeed. And research shows that the people who have the most impact on your success are
Hi there, I'm Monique Bree and this is my partner Blair. This is our baby daughter Quinn, who's 4 weeks old after a pretty fast and full-on labour.
Monique and Blair have had a harder time than most with baby Quinn. She was diagnosed with hip dysplasia and then at 4 days old with an eye infection which had her back at Starship.
And then not long after that she had a bit of a virus where she was choking and she was
Stopped breathing.
Yeah, stopped breathing, having
your own mum and of course your partner.
Everyone's been awesome, really. Even my mum and my grandmother. Being here helps because I can concentrate on trying to get this breastfeeding right.
Turn baby right around to your chest, that's a girl.